Well, now to a push underway to change how missing persons cases are handled.
Even after cases go cold, many families are still on the hunt for answers, but finding out what investigators have already uncovered, it is not easy.
Tonight, News 5's Clay Lepard introduces us to a woman who's fighting for change in hopes of uncovering the truth in some of the oldest unsolved cases.
As a Bedford City Schools special education teacher, patience is part of the job description for Allison Duiker. But outside her classroom, time hasn't been too kind.
This is one of the only pictures I have of her holding me.
Duiker does her best to keep the fading memories of Mom
She always went by Lonnie.
alive while she waits for a break in her mother's case.
I truly want to find her or find what happened to her.
Duiker was 5 in January 1981 when her deaf mother, Lonnie Rogers, disappeared overnight after a fight with her separated husband.
She slept on the couch, he slept in their bed.
30 minutes south of Erie, Pennsylvania.
He woke up at 2 in the morning to check on her, and she was gone.
It doesn't add up for Duiker. Her mom simply vanishing, leaving behind everything.
I mean, nothing has ever been found, turned up. She didn't have her hearing aid, she didn't have her glasses, she didn't have ID.
And in the 4 decades since, Duiker admits frustration pushed aside any patience as the cold case cooled with Pennsylvania State Police.
What has the journey been like since then, just dealing with police on this case?
It has been very difficult.
She's asked over and over to see the police files and notes for her mother's case.
What if there's something in that file that I could help connect the dots to?
But she has never seen them, being told by detectives it's all part of an ongoing investigation.
Do you think there's something in those files that you should know?
My gut says yes. There's just something about, what does it matter after 44 years? There's nothing active about a missing persons case that is 4.5 decades old.
Duiker even took her request all the way to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Ultimately, judges agreed with police, arguing empathy doesn't outweigh the law protecting criminal investigative materials from being released. Quote, this court simply does not have the power to circumvent the law.
So what can you do when the law says you can't? For Allison Duiker, the answer is almost elementary. You change the law.
She's looking for legislators in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, nationwide, to help push through what she calls Lonnie's Law. It would allow families of missing persons the ability, after 20 years, to view the police files in a case in a secure setting and take notes.
If you haven't moved forward in 20 years, something has to change.
Yeah, 20 years, it's a long time, but I'm not giving up hope.
Hope and patience keep Bill Hodge from stopping his search for his brother Michael.
That's me, and then Mike was the second oldest.
Mike Hodge was 39 when he went missing after a party in Cleveland's West Park neighborhood in 2004.
After that day, that night, nothing. Never heard from him.
Cleveland police handle that case.
They don't really reach out to us. We have to call them, to find out, what's going on and stuff. And then sometimes it takes a while, for them to get back to us.
He too has tried to see what's inside his brother's files.
I went down and asked for police reports a number of times, and I just get like one piece of paper. We meet with them and stuff. I mean, the folder would be this big. They've done, they've actually done some work.
If Lonnie's Law were enacted,
there he is.
Hodge feels it could bring some level of relief, even if the case was never solved.
But I think it's important too, like for the families to see what they did, just in case they might have missed something.
It's a gray area.
But there could be problems with it.
We don't know how that could potentially taint an investigation or actually, advance an investigation.
Special Agent Roger Davis oversees hundreds of cold cases and testing for them at Ohio's Bureau of Criminal Investigation. Showing those files, he says, can get tricky, with perhaps a suspect so close to being charged, notes being misinterpreted, or you may even be showing the files to the person who did it.
I'm torn when it's like, hey, I want them to have some answers, but I also want to make sure that the integrity of the case and that the person responsible for these crimes can be properly prosecuted.
Testing the patience of Allison Duiker and Bill Hodge as time ticks by without answers.
Not only am I living with ambiguous loss and not knowing, what happened to her or where she is, but I'm living with the ambiguity of, I don't even know what's in the file. I don't even know if I could or couldn't help.
Clay Lepard, News 5.
There is no state in the U.S. that requires police to allow families to view missing persons police files after a certain period of time. But there was a push on the federal level in early versions of the 2022 Homicide Victims Families' Rights Act that would have allowed families to involve outside agencies. That did not make the final bill.